Welcome back to IT 360 Advisor Podcast with your host, Jason Ewers. We are bringing in another one of our partners to help us during Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We are joined by Vince Crisler of Darkcubed. Vince, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thanks, Jason. Excited to be here.
Great, man. Hey, I'm looking forward to learning more about Darkcubed. So with that right there, why don't you tell us more about your company and exactly how it works?
Yeah, sure. We're really excited to be working with managed service providers to help them protect small and medium businesses. We're doing it through a unique platform that's super simple and easy to use, very low friction, no hardware, no software to install. We integrate with the existing firewalls. We bring all of your firewalls into a single pane of glass and enable you to automate protection to deliver real protection to your customers at the end of the day.
Awesome. You know, I think the question is, do people really know when they're getting attacked if they don't have the right process or right systems in place? And if they do, what does that attack look like?
Yeah, most people are unaware, and that's one of the challenges we see is like the broad mass market. And I think 99% of the companies out there, you're kind of reliant on your firewall to do the heavy lifting. And unfortunately, these firewalls by default, are meant to kind of do any allow traffic through. And unless you're staying on top of that firewall, you're not doing your customers a lot of good. And even those firewalls where you can buy an advanced security package, the reporting and visibility is really limited.
Sure.
And so what's happened historically in this market is there's been a push to say, if you really want to deliver real security, you have to go to a SIM tool. And those things are expensive, complex. If you're a big company, they're great. But for everybody else, they're pretty useless.
Yeah, I think that's the nice thing about Darkcubed. You guys really are focused on that small to mid-sized business and making a product that's very reasonable for them to have, especially for the horsepower that you get, helping you guys protect networks. So, so basically Darkcube's blocking known whitelisted IP addresses, correct? Is that what it's doing, coming in and out of your firewall? What percentage of threats have you guys seen that come from those types of IP addresses?
Yeah, what we're focused on the back end, and our customers don't get a lot of exposure to this, is being good and better than anybody else at saying, if somebody else out there in the world says an IP address is bad, then we need to make a determination of how confident we are that it actually is bad, and then bring that through in an automated fashion to protect your network. And so we're watching a bunch of sources of threat intelligence. We're integrated with partners. One of our key partners is Gray Noise. They do an awesome job of looking for scanning and attacks on the internet. We're integrated with them on the back end. We're looking things like Twitter feeds that are putting out Cobalt Strike and other things. Those are integrated in automatically on the back end. And so when we look at the stream of network traffic coming in and out of our customers, we can bounce it against that list and say, hey, somebody else out there has seen it as bad, and we need to go ahead and block it. Are we going to miss some stuff? Yeah, and I think one of the things we've tried to do in the market is be very truthful in marketing and advertising, which I think most companies aren't. Mm-hmm. If somebody stands up an attack to target a company on brand new infrastructure that's never been used before, this idea of using other people's knowledge to protect you isn't going to help.
Gotcha.
But frankly, that's such a small percentage of the attacks we're seeing. What we're seeing in contrast really are noisy, bulk, commoditized attacks from known bad infrastructure that are being successful all day, every day.
Yeah, I think that was one of my next questions is, how often are whitelisted IP addresses being updated?
Yeah, our algorithms are updating all the time. So, one of the cool things, we can get geeky really fast, but one of the geeky things we think about is, rather than thinking about this as a threat intelligence angle, and as an intelligence analyst, what you'd say is, who's the threat actor? What's their capability? How likely are they to be using this? We're thinking about all of our sources of activity as signals. So if you think about signal strength, about how strong that signal is on your radio dial, that signal strength is determined by how many people are saying it's bad, how confident we are in those sources, and how long it's been. So this idea of like half-life and decay is really important. You don't get in traditional intelligence where you can say, it was reported by one source a month ago, so it's pretty low confidence now, versus it was reported by 10 sources yesterday. And again, our algorithms are updating things, really often as we go through, as we get new reports. It's all happening on the back end. So as information changes, scores change.
Gotcha. I mean, a log, I know Darkcubed is what your product line is, but what other security measures would you think would be complement Darkcubed that a small business should probably put into its arsenal?
Yeah, I'm on the executive council for cybersecurity with CompTIA, and I'm on the ISAL executive council there as well. We get this question a lot about the security stack, and I think a lot of times people overthink it and they get kind of paralysis by analysis, where you have to think of all these tools. I think one of the worst things to happen in our industry is the Gartner Magic Quadrant, because it's designed for the biggest enterprises, not the traditional MSP. And when I think about a traditional MSP, there's some basics you need to have in place. You need to have a stack where you can manage your endpoints, right? You need to make sure you can update and patch and manage them. You need to be able to prevent your users from being admins on those endpoints. And especially in a mobile workforce, tools like Intune is really helpful. You need to be able to detect malware, so AV, and then some of these more advanced malware detection capabilities that are out there, I think are really helpful. Certainly monitoring for inbound and outbound connections like we're doing, I think is a key part of that stack. And then looking at things like DNS protection as well. IP protection and DNS protection complement each other really well. DNS protection only works if a malware is using a domain, right? And so you got to go to layer 3 too as well to detect and block some of these things.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I know that as a company, we're really kind of with our clients, along with whitelisting IP addresses, such as companies with Darkcubed. We're definitely weighing heavily on MFA. Just to get that going with companies, but we still have clients that are they want to manage the risk. They're like, yeah, we're not a target. I mean, what do you say to clients like that?
Go back to like 1999. I think it's clear today, and we're seeing it, whether it's an orthodontist office or an accounting firm. If you're connected to the internet, you're being targeted. Period. Mm-hmm. End of story. If you don't have MFA deployed, you're wrong. I mean, I think a couple of years ago there could have been a debate about this, but no more. And I think that's further reinforced by, if you look at what Google's doing, like they're pushing out MFA on 150 million accounts by the end of the year. Like they've finally seen like it's got to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're an MSP and you haven't pushed out MFA, like you're asking for trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a Google. I forget what I was doing the other day. I got on it and it made me go to YouTube to do my 2-factor authentication. And that was the first time I think I was accessing my Google account through a new device. And I was like, that's the first one. I said, and that is pretty secure. Happened to go that route. So yeah. It was interesting that route. So I know this is a short, quick hit podcast. I appreciate the time. You gave us some great information. Again, thank you, Darkcubed. Any of our listeners out there want any more information about Darkcubed, feel free to reach out to IT360. Love to talk to you guys about it more. Thank you.